Hey guys, Kurt here with NK Garage, and hopefully you saw the part 1 of this video with the metalworking lathe that we bought from the Wood Chimes company. Well, this is part 2, and I'm not really even sure what we're going to be buying today, but the guy called us up and said that his boss is looking to sell stuff and he wants to sell it fast, which means they're handing out high discounts to people that have bought tools from them before. So we're going back over there. We're going to check out what they have. I know for a fact that we're not leaving without the bandsaw and possibly a metal roller and maybe even a metal brake if they give it enough of a discount. But I know there's a bunch of other stuff in that manufacturing room that they don't use anymore, so I made sure that we have plenty of time today to check all that out to see if we can find any more little goodies. And while I got you guys here with me, I brought a little box on the road with me today. This package came yesterday. It's from SK. I made a warranty with them on some screwdrivers, so let's check them out. Now, the screwdrivers that I warranted were old USA made screwdrivers, and I hate when I have to give up on a nice USA made tool, but unfortunately one of them was spinning in the handle, and the Phillips screwdriver, the bit was completely worn out and just wasn't doing the job anymore. So SK sent these guys out to me, and they look like the old USA made hard handles, but there's nothing on here that says that it is made in the USA, which makes me think that they're probably making these overseas now, because I know they're doing that with their sockets, and I think they're doing that with their wrenches as well. Now, does that entirely mean that these screwdrivers are garbage? No, they look pretty good, and we'll definitely be putting them to the test. They definitely copied the old design. It looks like they made the handle just a little bit bigger, which works for me because I don't have the smallest hands. I don't have the meatiest, biggest hands out there, but I know that, you know, sometimes it's hard to get a good grip. So we got the Phillips and we got the flathead. Both are 4-inch shafts, so Phillips number 2 here, and we'll be testing these out. You know, I'm glad to put them back in service, and I think it was a good swap given the condition of the old screwdrivers. So we're on the road. We got Nick here with us today.
How's it going?
Nick, is there anything you're hoping to get today?
Well, like Kurt said, I'm really excited about the bandsaw. I have a bandsaw in my garage, but this is an industrial larger unit than what I have, and it is a bi-material, so it will cut metal. And I've always wanted a bandsaw that can do that, so I'm excited about that.
It's also variable speed.
I believe it's, I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure the model that I looked up is variable speed, not only with a gearbox, but with quick change belts. So that should help a lot for cutting a bunch of different materials.
Yeah, and hopefully at the price we get it at, you know, it's very reasonable, and we can probably go and sell the old bandsaw and get most of the money back. So I think it's actually a really good opportunity to make an upgrade. So we just got to check out the condition, make sure it's all good. You always want to check out the condition of your tools, especially bandsaws. You want to check the rubber wheels inside the tires, as they call them, and make sure that that's all good, because that can be, you know, it's not the hardest repair to do, but it can definitely take time and, you know, cost you a little extra money. Is there anything else you'll be looking at, Nick?
There's a couple other items they have. I'm not sure whether or not we necessarily need them, but it could be a good resale opportunity for us depending on the price that we get the stuff for. And then just in general rummaging to see if we can find any hidden gems.
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely be, you know, keeping an eye out. I'm really looking for fine measurement tools for machining. Last time we were there, we really didn't get any of that. We got some machinist tools, but we didn't find any calipers or dial indicators or anything like that. So I'm hoping we might be able to find some of those hidden around. If not, no big deal. I know that we'll definitely come home with something. So we're on the road. We'll catch up with you guys later, and you'll see what we got.
Hey Kurt, what did we get?
A lot
A lot?
stuff. Guys, we got woodworking tools, we got metalworking tools, machinist tools. We have these 3 giant cabinets full of gorgeous hardware. We got tape, caution tape, flagging tape. I got sharpening stones. Look at this spoke shave. It's like brand new, Stanley, made in England. Number 151. LS Starrett measuring tape.
Well, guys, we got a long drive ahead of us, and if I don't pull him away, he might ride home in the trailer.
I got a box of Velcro.
He's gonna ride home in the trailer. We got a little bit of a drive ahead of us. Kurt can't wait to get home and show you some of this stuff.
Yeah, all right, we gotta go. Hey guys, Kurt here with NK Garage, and we are back. We went back and we found a ton of stuff that we wanted to buy. We spent a total of $1,000. That was kind of our budget. We weren't really expecting to go back and buy a bunch of stuff so soon, but we wanted to get the deals and the stuff before everybody else got there. So obviously, as you can see, we came home with a toolbox. It's a nice Craftsman toolbox, older one, you know, probably maybe 30 years old or so. It's in pretty good shape. There's no real rust on it. The top has come with the key, and it is full of tools. Well, kind of. They took some stuff out, they put some stuff in, so it was a pretty good deal because especially the guy valued this at $75 with everything inside of it. So
the whole thing.
Yes. So I guess let's dive right into that. Open up the top, and of course, we have a lot of sockets. There's a lot of Craftsman stuff in here. It seems to be all USA made. We've got some larger 1/2-inch drive sockets. This is a 27mm. It's a nice one. There's metric and SAE. We have hex sets. A lot of these ones are Armstrong. There's a couple of Protos, and I even saw a Mac or 2 in here. So they're not complete sets like original sets, but they're complete as in all the sizes seem to be here. We have the ball end ones and the regular end for the long shafts. And then we have some shorter ones here as well. And this one is a combination. We got some Torx in here too. So not everything is included, but for the price we paid, there's a lot of good stuff in here. A lot of these guys on here are Craftsman, and it's harder to find these older USA made Craftsman Torx. So that will definitely make good little pieces on our eBay store if anybody is missing some of those. Next up, I mean, you can see we got tons of sockets. Got a rail of Husky sockets here for 3/8 drive. And there's some extra socket rails in here. Got some 1/4-inch stuff. And just a random assortment. They made their own little dividers here. They put little screws and some wood and put all little labels on here. So I didn't see any ratchets or anything like that in here. I think we got a couple 1/4-inch drive extensions here, but nice Craftsman USA ones. Got a little 1/4-inch spinner, just cheap, and 3/8 drive, little handle here. That sums it up for the socket area. Next drawer, just some random stuff. We got 2 distributor wrenches here. This one is made by KD, and so is this one. So we have 2 different KD distributor wrenches. Got some various bits. Looks like some like security flathead bits. All sorts of them in here. There's a whole package. They're kind of just all over the place. Got a flashlight. I haven't tested this. Oh, it does work. Middle drawer. This is tweezers. There are various tweezers in here, I think. Like this one, I was looking, is made in Switzerland. Little general ratcheting screwdriver. And various little things. Nice little pair of scissors. Next drawer over here. This is all sewing stuff. They were assembling wind chimes and they were doing threading and stuff like that. So there's some sewing stuff in here. There is this little magnetic
That might be
tool
for the
post.
dial indicator.
Yeah. Trying to read. It's the Mighty Mite. It's USA made. Alright, well, we'll continue to move on. Sewing stuff, not too exciting. This drawer, fairly empty. We got a couple chuck keys and a couple measurement tools. Next drawer, we got some screwdriver bits. We got some hex key stuff. Little screwdriver set. Nothing too exciting. Next drawer here is wrenches and files. And looks like they picked these up somewhere for a pretty good price. Everything was on sale. But this is a nice Nicholson file, USA. Either that or they were trying to sell this stuff at some point. But there's a couple good pieces in here, like this Craftsman 11/32 wrench, USA V series. Here's another Craftsman 11/32 wrench, also V series. Another Craftsman one. This one has been modified. There's some junky ones in here, like this one is just top. But there's also some better ones in here as well. Another Craftsman metric 12mm. It's a bunch of Wright wrenches as well. Here's a Williams wrench, 5/16, and other various pieces. Next up, this drawer got a little tubing bender tool here. There's some more socket rack stuff, various pieces of hardware. Got this, some kind of like, what do you think, Nick? Some kind of crimping?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
If you can identify this, let us know.
Very old. And we got this guy here. Obviously, some kind of fastener, little rivet thing. That's my guess. Made in USA. Bottom drawer, we got the Stanley pistol grip saw set. We've got the instructions here as well as the tool. Looks to be fairly unused. Then we'll go into the bottom. This was their pliers drawer, first thing. And best thing is the pair of Knipex alligator pliers, the tongue and groove style. Very nice. That is something that we've wanted for a long time and have yet to come across. We got some larger hex set key things from McMaster Carr, just unsorted miscellaneous. There are a bunch of locking pliers in here. We got some vice grip ones, like this guy, and this one. We do not have this one, so that was kind of cool to get. There are some modified ones as well. There are some Taiwan ones. More Taiwan. If it was up to me, I would have modified the Taiwan, but here's a little flat blade style one. Got this one with the bolt welded to the side, but we could take that off. Or actually, I guess they repaired it. Maybe the rivet failed and they repaired it, or they were modifying it. Not entirely sure. More Taiwan. This one is made by Channel Lock. Here's an old pair of Channel Lock pliers. Various little things. A pair of crescent pliers with one grip left on them. Another pair of modified vice grips for whatever they were doing with that. And this guy. Next up, we got a very large tap. That is quite the unit. It's actually 1 1/4 inch -12. Pretty much brand new. Got a wire brush. Got a tap and drill index. incomplete index made by Huo. This was on the table, and the guy said since I bought all of the other sockets that I had to take it. It's just a Great Neck series, just kind of cheap junk. There are 2 of these sharpening stones, and they are definitely Japanese. Not sure exactly what they're for, but when I would think they're expensive. In here we have tons and tons of Allen keys, big and small, and when I mean big, I mean big. This is big. Various pieces. Here is the wedges for replacing a replacing a handle on your hammer. More hex keys up the wazoo. We have a razor blade dispenser, some files. There's a little grabber pickup tool here, some cold punches in here, various hacksaw pieces, and that's about it. Next up, here are more sockets by Great Neck that the guy made me take. Like I said, nothing special, just Taiwan. Oops. In here we have some 2 benders. This one is just made by Pittsburgh. This one is homemade. This one looks like another Pittsburgh. Oh, Imperial Eastman. Very nice. There are some puller tools in here. We have some pipe cutters. Here's a rigid pipe cutter. This one is it says Superior. Got a nut buster. Got a Danair. Is that how you say it? Nick, what would you say this was again?
I can't tell if it's like a palm hammer or something along the lines of that. I'm not actually positive.
We have yet to test it. There's 2 of these little puller guys, some kind of pulling tools. And
those are the swaging heads. We just don't have the handles.
Yes. There are 2 of them. Here's a little socket. And various pieces of metal. In the bottom drawer, there are more sockets. A lot of Craftsman sockets. There is a roto split for cutting Romex cable. We have a hole saw. More sockets, a little brush.
You got your plumb bob.
Got a plumb bob. And a Desco Pro angle finder. Tool tray. Overall, not the most exciting stuff, but I think the Nipex pliers was my favorite thing in here, followed by some of the unmodified vice grips. And of course, finding Craftsman sockets is always awesome. On to the better stuff. Let's get into that. All right, let's get into some exciting stuff. This is where it gets real serious, guys. These, we have some Irwin quick grip clamps. I think these are like 3 to 4 footers. Let me grab a tape measure. And 46 inches long. So we got 2 of those, 2 smaller ones here as well. They all work great.
I used them the other day. They're really, really nice.
And for what we paid for them, I'd say I paid $5 a piece. Got some Jorgensen clamps in here. Those are always nice to pick up. I'd say I paid about $1 a piece for them. Can't complain for that price. And then we have just an adjustable C-clamp here. It's about a 6-inch throat, 5-inch throat. Just standard, good C-clamp to have. Again, probably paid about $1. In here we have some wood planes and other woodworking tools. We have a couple saws here. I don't normally pick up woodworking saws, hand saws, but when I see one that's made in Sheffield, England, and I can just feel it's very nice and very sharp, I knew that this would be a good pickup for about $1. There is this one, as well as this guy here, made by Diston, dovetail saw. We have another, this is a Tyzac Sons and Turner in Sheffield, England, another dovetail saw. And we have this one, protected in cardboard, Crown Tools, Sheffield, England. So, like I said, they're about $1 a piece. I can't complain with those prices. Those are some nice, well-made saws. In here with the planes, we have a Bailey number 3. I believe this is what's called a Type 12, and that is because there are 3 different patent dates on here, and because the adjustment knob here is 1 1/4 inch. That is what determines that this is the Type 12, and it has the smooth bottom. I think fair value on this plane is probably about $50, but if I'm wrong, let me know. It's used, but I don't see any cracks in the wood handle. Everything seems to be here, so it's just a little dusty. This plane here, the only thing that says on here is made in Germany, and it's in pretty good shape. Doesn't have any writing on the plane itself. Got a bunch of smaller guys. Here's a little Stanley. This one just says made in USA. Got this guy here. Needs to be cleaned. It's got a lot of dust on it. Stanley. Here's a nice little guy. What are these, a rabbit plane, Nick?
I think so.
Yeah. Stanley as well. This one is just a piece of junk. Got a Stanley Surform here. Nice Stanley wood chisel. It's the Sweetheart model, made in USA. It looks to be about a 1/2 inch. And just a random file made by Nicholson. Then we got 2 Stanley made in England number 151 spoke shaves. These I always look out for, especially when you can get them for a good price, because they're worth about $40 to $50 depending on condition. This guy here probably even more because he is just really nice. These are both the flat bottoms. There's also a curved bottom model. I believe the curved bottom ones are more rare. Got a set of reamers here. These are made by Alvord Polk Tool in USA. Nice little case here. Comes with all the various sizes. I don't really know a lot about reamers. These have 2 different sizes on them. Not sure exactly what they're for, but we have a whole set here in a nice case, and we didn't pay a lot of money for it. Right here we have a oil dropper made by Eagle. I always pick these up whenever I find them. They're never expensive. I've never found anybody ask too much money for them. Then we got some supplies and whatnot. I picked up a bunch of tape, caution tape, duct tape, painter's tape, packing tape, tape gun. It was just really cheap. All these caulk guns came in a box of something that we picked up, so we just ended up with those. There is one of the larger size ones though, and we use those a lot in our business when we do pavers, so that one we'll be keeping. The rest will probably just go somewhere else. We got a whole box of O-rings. The guy just gave this to me. I found it last second, and he's like, yeah, sure, just throw it in with the deal. There's an assortment here, as well as many just packs of O-rings. Big, small, this is just some hose. Got a whole box of assorted Velcro. We have little circle ones, strips, all just Velcro. They shut down their manufacturing, so I will take use of that random assorted hardware, 1/4 inch by 20 bolts, little assortment packs, this and that. Got a bunch of belts here. Got a bunch of cable covers. This is all just random stuff that came in a cabinet that you will see later. It's all just random hardware and such. Got this whole box full of zip ties. Just tons and tons of packs in here. This is all electrical stuff, soldering, wire nuts, all of that. There's a Ideal Telemaster module plug termination crimp tool kit. Got this whole thing. There's 2 grease guns in here and a bunch of grease tubes. Got a box of hose clamps and a box of straps. So next, I'll show you guys even more of the haul. We got 3 different film filing cabinets that they were using to store their hardware, and we have them installed in the shop here now. These came almost just as you will see them. They were these 2 units. They match our drawer over here very well, and we're able to stack our other cabinets on top.
So just to clarify, we already had this top, everything with the green, including this filing cabinet. So we picked up these 2 filled with hardware, and then there's one more out there just because we can't fit it in here.
Yeah, and these, I asked the guy how much you asking for them. He said $100 each with everything inside. And I said yes. I hope you can see why. This is some of the good stuff. We got wing nuts, hex nuts, all different sizes. I think everything in here, most of it is SAE. There might be a little bit of metric in here. All organized, all these bins just came like this. This whole thing is all washers. Next up, we got sheet metal screws. We have a McMaster car set, as well as all of these sorted bins. Next up, they labeled this wood screws and lag screws. This is one of the more messier drawers, but still very good stuff to have. Next up is their sheet metal screws. This one was kind of light. I haven't gotten around to organizing or changing any of this drawer yet. This I did change. Now we got a lot of these springs, including the spring assortment, but both these 2 packs I already had, as well as about half of the springs in the back. I had to make room, so I threw all of our springs in with their springs and took everything else out of the drawer that wasn't springs because we have a lot of springs. Next up, this is another drawer I have not yet touched. It's just a lot of little screws in here. Just a lot of stuff. Next up, I changed some of this. I added this little section we already had, but we got all of these punching tools for whether or not you're punching leather or whatever craft you're doing. These do a great job, and there are a bunch of sizes in here. These are all USA made. There are some riveting stuff in here. There's some stapling stuff. A lot of small tools for doing little fasteners and stuff like that. Then in here, this is a lot of riveting stuff. And then we also got the nutter. The nutter is just a thread cert kit. There are more here as well. There's also thread cert boxes in here as well. And in the bottom, something I'm most happy about, the glue guns. We already had 2 or 3 of these glue guns, but I added our glue gun stuff to their glue gun stuff. Obviously, they were using a lot of glue guns. All of this glue gun stock came with their stuff, so now we are loaded up for a while, if not a lifetime. Over here, we'll start on the bottom and go up. Some of the stuff in the front we had, but the other rest of the stuff, there's all these little caps and plugs, all different size and shapes. There's some long ones over here. And these are just rubber little caps that you can put on a bolt or a tube. Anything that you just need to temporarily cap or just make safe. In here, this drawer was one of the ones that I had emptied. It was full of a bunch of stuff that we had no use for, so I put a lot of our hardware in there. Then we get into the bolts, and I love bolts. We've got a lot of bolts in here. There's a lot of American bolts. We got 3/8-16, 7/16, 14, 1/2 inch-13. A lot of good popular sizes.
A lot of these are weird. They're actually through-holed, so they have holes right through them. There's a bunch of different varieties of that, so that's interesting.
Yeah. Then we get into the hex bolts here, more of those. Flathead machine screws and carriage bolts. Also some nuts. Round head machine screws. This is the exciting stuff. If you guys like socket head cap screws, well, we have a ton of them now. All the black oxide ones. This is the large drawer. Then they get a little smaller as we go up. And they get even smaller.
Would you like to pull out a small guy for scale?
This little guy.
Those are some small socket head cap screws.
Oh yes, and just look at all of the bins that we got. These little organizers are great. And then these feet caps, plugs, grommets, all of it. I've always kept this kind of stuff around, and I've just put it in one drawer, but now we have a bunch of sorted stuff, brand new stuff. Never know when you might need some of these things, but they do come in handy. That's a lot of hardware. That's a lot of value. And $100 per cabinet for a used cabinet. These used to be film file cabinets. It's the record DAC label here. You know, that might be a high price to ask for this empty, but with all that stuff in there and a lot of good stuff, I was totally happy to pay that. So we got 3 of those. The other one is in the garage. I took everything out of that one, and that's where a lot of the stuff in these bins over here came from. And now we're going to transfer over to Nick. He's going to go over some very, very exciting stuff with you guys.
Alright guys, so Kurt is excited about bolts and nuts, as am I, but I'm really excited about some of these metrology tools. I'm still learning all my vocabulary here, but this is all for measuring and indicating and things. So we'll start over here. These are the vernier micrometers, or I'm pretty sure that's what they're called. I'm still, like I said, we're completely new to this. We're missing one, and then these 2 are just different guys, but these are going to be the Brown and Sharps. These were purchased brand new, comes with the manual, and what you can it's kind of funny on here, so these were September 15th, 1989, they were purchased, or at least that's when this manual was written. So these are pretty old, and they're all in very good shape, which is very nice. This is a Fowler, and this is another Brown and Sharp. Coming over here, we have some digital calipers. We have a Brown and Sharp and a Mitutoyo. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. I like the Mitutoyo better. We are going to end up keeping that one. Probably letting go of the Brown and Sharp. These are nice. They both go to the 10,000ths of an inch, which is a very fine measurement. Very nice for high precision metalworking. Over here, we have internal and an LS Starrett internal bore gauge. Really nice. It even comes with the original paperwork showing the guy that inspected it before he sent it out. We have a spring centering punch. These are great. We never get rid of those. Another set of calipers here. You got any film down there, buddy? This is interesting. This is a Mitutoyo It's called a Quick Mini. So it's a digital caliper of sorts. We got to get a battery in there to check that that works. I assume it does. These are radius gauges. So these have radiuses from 1/2 inch. So you have internal and external radiuses of multiple sizes. And it goes all the way from 1/2 inch down to 1/64 of an inch. That is tiny. Look at the little tiny circle on there. I know you're not going to be able to see it. I think this is a holder for that, so that's nice. Here we have some sort of adjustable angle gauge. So that goes from 30 to 60 degrees along this plane, and then it has a 60-30 0 in the middle, and this can be adjusted. I'm not really exactly sure what this is for. We will learn unless someone comments and tells me what it's for. Here, I'm excited about this. These are precision angle gauges. So this is 45 degrees. We have a 30 degree. I think that's a 20 degree, a 5 and a 10, plus whatever this is. I think it's adjustable. I think it's at 0 to 5 degrees. So I was looking for these and we just happened to come across them. I'm super happy to have a set of these. Down here we have a Chinese dial indicator. We might have the stand for that in the toolbox to your right. Not sure. We'll probably hold on to it because we don't have another one. And then in the future we're going to upgrade our inventory there. And last but not least is just a 4-foot start, like tape with an adhesive backing.
Yeah, and it's metal.
So that's interesting. I don't know if we're necessarily going to hold on to it, but it's a cool little piece of measurement tooling.
So what's your favorite tool in this lot, Nick?
Well, honestly, the thing I'm probably going to use the most is probably going to be this Mitutoyo digital caliper. We have 2 or 3 Chinese digital calipers floating around the garage that I use regularly. They only go to the 1,000th. These go to the 10,000th, and this is just a really, really nice tool. The Brown & Sharp one I'm not as big of a fan of. I like the little roller thumb screw versus this just has a slider. But aside from that, I think these angle gauges, that's really cool. You don't see that often. You know, I have these because you can buy these cheap, but not a lot of people have a set of precision angle gauges, and that's really cool to me.
Yeah, I think that's definitely cool. And behind you, I almost forgot, guys, we got these as well. These came with the other cabinets that we bought. The guy threw them in. It was a little bit of part of a negotiation. And there's tons of stuff in here. There are some grommets in here. They call these isolators. They're just little rubber grommets. They have the ones with the bolts on them as well. Then we have a whole container full of S-hooks, all different sizes. The springs bin I did put in the other drawer. There's just various things in here. There are these large key rings and other pieces of hardware. Over here, another miscellaneous bin. I got some thumb screws, some cable stuff, various pieces. Here, we have these screws. Then we have a set of Woodruff keys. And this is really nice. Look at that. That is just a nice set. Stocked with every size. Bunch of other miscellaneous stuff in here. Also some miscellaneous thing. There are some of these latching, those little rubber latches. There's 2 of those in there. In here, got some brackets, some screws, have some anchors, miscellaneous. This is all cabling stuff, more cabling stuff. This whole bin is full of dividers for these bins. This, I was excited, very excited. I love bushings. Now we have with the lathe, of course, we can make our own bushings, but there are a bunch of nice bronze bushings in here that are already pre-made. And we got some toggle bolts and stuff like that. Up here, there are a lot of brass fittings. There are just tons of that kind of stuff. These are for cabling, but we have tons of brass fittings. All different kinds. Converters, angles. We got elbows in here. Here's more of the swagging sleeves. Just tons and tons. Here's some clamping. Why can't I think today, guys?
They're like the one-time use hose clamps.
Yeah. I can't get my words right today. Tons more up here. We have a set of snap rings in this bin. Nice, nice. And more brass stuff. Some of it is used, some of it is new. I think that covers it for hardware. There was a lot of hardware. There was a lot of stuff in this haul, guys. It was a crazy amount of stuff. We've been going through it for a few days now, and it all looks nice and organized now, but it was kind of a mess. But we got some more bigger goodies because we didn't blow the $1,000 budget on all this just yet. We're going to go in the other room, and Nick's going to talk to you guys about some bigger stuff.
All right, guys, pardon the mess. In between getting all this stuff, we're also running 2 businesses, snow plowing, and working on a machine teardown. So let's talk about the big stuff. This is my stuff. This is the stuff that I'm into. This whole sale really started with this tool right here. The guy had emailed us and said he had some stuff, and he told me to check Craigslist for the main listing for all this stuff. And this is what we thought we were going there to buy. If we didn't know that we were going to come home with hardware and bins and things, we said, this looks like what we want. So this is a Powermatic 143. It's a 14-inch metal cutting bandsaw. This is 120 volt, so it's not 3-phase, it's not 220, it's not some weird thing. I cleaned it up, I serviced it. It works great. The only thing it needs is going to be the tires on the drive wheels. These tires are in some pretty poor shape. You cannot use the high speed. That's the cool thing about this. So this is a variable speed bandsaw. So we can cut from 40 RPM all the way up to 3,000 RPM. So there is a 2-speed lube-filled gearbox in the back and then a 4-speed belt drive. This thing runs great. I'll turn it on. Sounds really good. So like I said, I changed all the fluid in the gearbox. I don't think it's ever been changed in this thing's life. I've cut a couple things on here. Boy, is this a nice unit. So if you didn't think that was enough, well, we bought another bandsaw. So this is a Rockwell 14-inch bandsaw. This is a lighter duty one. It's really mainly for cutting wood. Everything is there. It's got new bands, and as you can see, it's in fantastic shape. Basically, it says wood only on here. They actually had a sticker over this that said for cutting foam. So it must have been for packing the wood chimes or something like that. So this thing had very light use. It is in fantastic shape. We are not going to be holding on to this. This was kind of thrown into the deal. We estimate that we paid about $100 for this, and we paid about $400 for the Powermatic.
I think we paid $300 for this.
It was listed for $400, but we kind of talked them down. This was kind of like a weird. We didn't really talk about price. It was just kind of bundled in, and we estimate about $100. So we're going to be letting this go. I don't really have a use for a light duty bandsaw like this. I already have an old Atlas bandsaw over there. I'm actually going to be giving that to my dad. This is just another smaller wood bandsaw. It's in really good shape. Don't mind the little bit of rust. I had some wet stuff get put down on it the other day. I use this regularly in the garage for cutting wood. I'm really happy now to have a saw that will handle metal. And this is basically like a dual use machine. You can still cut wood on this. You just make sure you clean it out in between rounds. You don't want hot metal igniting all your wood shavings. So not only did we get these bandsaws, we got some extra attachments for the Rockwell. We got a ton of blades. They threw in every blade that they had at the shop. So I got to go through these. I don't know if they're all for one or they're both, but we have an assortment of bandsaw blades from wood to metal, from very thick to thin for cutting some more turns, even stuff new in the box. So that's a lot of value right there. These blades are not cheap. This guy right here. Me and Kurt have been working on machinery and automotive stuff since we were in high school, teenagers. And an oxyacetylene torch has always been on our list of like things that we need, but we never really made that jump. We got a welder, we got a plasma cutter, but for some reason we just never got into the oxyacetylene. There's many times we could have gotten great use out of one, we just never bought one. We saw this, I said, I'll think about it. Kurt got the price on this down to $50. A full tank of oxygen, a full tank of acetylene, 20 feet of hose, and we have a cutting and a brazing torch with this. That's fantastic, plus the cart. Can't complain about that. Behind it, there are 4 different bottles. I believe we have 2 acetylene bottles. That one bottle has a torch on it. That's just like an acetylene, like brazing torch. And then we have 2 bottles of oxygen. I don't know if we're gonna be able to use those with this, or we're going to recycle that, but I'm just glad to have the main oxyacetylene cutting torch. It's something I've always wanted. Even a small set that doesn't come with gas in it is about $350 at Harbor Freight, and that's the half-size bottles without a rolling carb. So I think we did really good for $50.
Yeah, I agree. And the reason I paid $50 is because, you know, they haven't used it in a long time, and I wasn't sure if everything was going to work properly. You know, these hoses can dry rot over time. They could develop leaks. The gauges can just fail.
That is something that you have to keep in mind when you purchase a Harbor Freight or offshore brand of this. Those hoses are not going to be built as well. The gauges are not going to be as nice. Now, I haven't looked over this to check what type of gauges, if they're USA made or whatever. But I could tell from the lines, they have some age on them. They're not new, but they're still nice and pliable, and they're in very good shape. Normally, you would see that dry rot and that cracking. It doesn't have any of that. I looked over the whole thing. And the torches, this is that brazing head, and then this, oh yeah, made in USA. It's a Firepower brand. So we have the brazing head, and then the torch head. So all of this is really nice. I think it's another Firepower USA made. Great. Like I said, I haven't looked into this a whole lot because we've been busy sorting and cleaning and playing with tools and things, but let us know how we did.
Yeah, I think we did well, and just in case you guys wanted to see, this is the other cabinet that we had got. I probably threw out about half of the stuff that was in this cabinet. This one, instead of having hardware, just had miscellaneous. There was a bunch of old expired caulk in there. That's where the caulk guns came from. The grease stuff was in there. I haven't tested the grease guns or to see if the grease tubes are still good. It was just full of all sorts of this and that.
There was a whole drawer dedicated to ballasts for these old school lights.
Yeah, ballast and halogen bulbs and all that. But we are not going to be holding on to this last cabinet. We just do not have space for it, and we have other organizers as well, so we think we're going to get rid of it. I've listed it back on Facebook Marketplace, hoping somebody else can get use of it. And I think that concludes the video for today. It has been crazy. This whole haul was completely overwhelming for us both. I mean, we filled a enclosed trailer full of stuff. We got not just 1, but 2 bandsaws, all the oxyacetylene stuff. I've already filled up several garbage bags full of stuff. It's just been a lot. So
and keep in mind, before we did this haul, we brought that whole lathe home from the same place. So it's just been a non-stop crazy month for us.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen the lathe video, go check it out. This is a kind of part 2 to it, but it's also just a bunch of different stuff as well. So it's just another tool haul from NK. All right, well, you guys have a great day, And before you go, if you're looking to do something else, check out some more videos. Go check out us at NK Landscaping LLC on YouTube. We have not just one, but 2 channels full of great content. So if you guys like this kind of content, you'll probably like that kind of content. Nick runs that channel over there. So hopefully you'll check it out. You'll like it. You'll subscribe. Leave comments. See you guys in the next one.
Before you leave, drop a comment down in the description or comment section. What was your favorite tool out of the haul? Do you think we got a good deal? And yeah, chat us up.
All right. Thank you, guys.